Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Xah Talk Show. Today is 2020, August. What date is today? August 30th, Sunday, 9 o'clock in the morning, San Francisco time. And today we are going to do Emacs and Emacs Lisp live coding plus tutorial. So first of all, the background image. The background image is this keyboard configuration I created. Xnocode keyboard, that's the name. So the idea of this keyboard, I was thinking, this is a physical keyboard design, but I don't think I will be able to actually make it. You can do it as a do-it-yourself, but anyway, it's an idea. It's an idea of a physical keyboard design, and this keyboard, the primary feature of this keyboard, this design, is that it minimizes it is trying to get rid of key codes such as Control C, Alt Tab, things like that. So rid of key codes, rid of the Shift key as much as possible. So you can see this keyboard, in the middle you have a number pad, and but you don't have the number row on top. So it reduces the use of the Shift key, and because it's the number pad is in the middle, so you have a separation of the hands. So so you don't need to make them like a V shape for ergonomic purposes, because now your hand is like on the side. It's far apart, wide enough. And you have tons of thumb keys, and I was thinking, in order to revolutionize the keyboard market, you have to make something cheap. So I envision that this will be made very cheap, like $30, okay, $20, $30, mass produced. And it could be rubber dome, just a cheap keyboard, rubber dome, and mass produce it. Though of course, but that may not be likely unless if you are a big corporation like Microsoft or Logitech. Anyway, and then of course, if we can have mechanical keys, then that would be much better. But that would add much to the cost of creating this keyboard. But anyway, there are two extra features, unusual features on this keyboard. You have two mouse wheels on the right. So those are wheels, just like a mouse wheel, high quality wheel. So one of the wheel is intended to be page up and page down, while the other wheel it can be sound volume up, down, or it could be switching tabs, or it could be other things. It should be programmable. So anyway, that's the background image today, and that is the Xnocode keyboard. Okay, now let's begin to do Emacs, shall we? So Naibo, are you here? So Naibo has a question, but if you are here, type the question. Okay, I'm gonna answer that Emacs question. Good morning, Bart and Sergio. Thank you for checking out my websites. So let's start to do Emacs. We have tons of things to do. So I'm gonna show you what am I going to do today. So Naibo, if you are here, ask your questions. Okay, any one of you go ask your questions. Okay, and we are going to start to code Emacs Lisp now. Now let me do one more check to see if I am doing well, audio and video. Okay, we are going to code. Let me show you what we are going to code. We are going to code this command, okay, xah-html-named-entity-to-char. So let's copy this. So in HTML, as you know, you have a lot of entities, okay. For example, all these are entities. Let's see. For example, all these bunch are entities. What do I mean? You'll see what I mean if I call the command, okay? call it. You see, there it is. You see the entities becomes characters. Let's magnify again. Let's undo. So actually, let's just focus on the first one. Okay. So you see, so this is before, and now we call the command. This is after. Call it. You see the HTML entities becomes characters. What entity means is that in HTML, if you want to type some of the Unicode characters, such as the pound sign, the British pound sign, you could type that, and when it shows in browser, it'll show as a pound sign. But however, if you declare in HTML with UTF-8, let me show you. Okay. So you declare in HTML, you say chars at UTF-8, then you don't need the entities. You see the entities are ugly. That's the thing. You see they are ugly. They are hard to type. You rather, as time goes on, you want the characters themselves. The technology. That's what Unicode is for. So anyway, so I have a command. So I have a command that converts all the entities to characters. Why do you need that? Because sometimes you go grab a web page. Sometimes you go to a website, you grab a novel. Okay, so, let's see if I can find some examples. We have a lot to do. Okay. Well, anyway, sometimes suppose you want to put some novel, some classic novel, let's say A Tale of Two Cities, to your website. You grab it from one of the open source website, and then you realize that they contain lots of entities. Whoever created those HTML contains lots of entities, and you don't want that. I mean, you want to make it more elegant, so you want to use the characters. That's when this command is useful. Okay, and let's try it again. So here it is. Let's do it. You see. So that is the command. Now there are something I want to modify. Okay, right now the command only works on the current line. For example, now I have two lines here. Now I put a cursor on the first line. I call it shortcut is that. Okay, you see, it assumes you want to work on the current line, but however, what I want to work on the current paragraph text block. Okay, so let's go in. We are going to modify the command. So go to the source code, describe key, press the key, then it shows the documentation of the command. Runs the command xah-html-named-entity-to-char, and tap to the link, open it. Here we see the source code. Okay, here's the source code. Let's copy it, and by the way, go to the top of the page. This is xah-html mod. Okay, so you can download on my Git. Just search for the name. So create a new buffer, paste it here, and save it. Okay, we want to save. We are going to modify this command. So save it. Let's say xx that, then today's date.el. Okay, we saved it to the file. We want to modify. So instead of assuming work on the current line, we want to work on the current paragraph text block. So we go to the top, modify the inline documentation, replace HTML named entity to Unicode character in current text block or selection. Okay. For example, the copy ampersand copy semicolon symbol becomes a copyright symbol. Okay, so so let's do it. So all we have to do, actually, this is pretty easy. All we have to do is change this part. So this part says if it's region, let's see, can you guys see? So if this region, if you have any comments, questions, just type it. I'll read it pretty soon. So all we have to do is change this part. So this part says if there's a region, if user select a region, then you just say region beginning and region end. That's the starting position and end position of the place you are interested. Otherwise, if there's no region, you say line beginning position and line end position. Now notice, okay, let me explain what's this part interactive for. Notice this function takes two arguments, beginning and end. Okay, it takes two positions in the buffer, two arguments. Now, normally in a programming language, you have a function with two arguments, so you can call the function and give two arguments. But in Emacs Lisp, you see, when you call a function, when you call a command interactively, there's a question: how do you actually give that command arguments? So Emacs provides a way to do that. In fact, there are many ways, but one of the basic way is you say interactive, okay, then you have this interactive clause return a list. Okay, so right now here we are returning a list of two elements, and whatever that returns will become the arguments to the function. So that is what this interactive is for. So when you, for example, if I do meta x and I call this command, I press enter, you see there's no arguments. But however, because Emacs Lisp sees this line, it will run this line interactive, and it will find out what arguments actually to use. So this part is actually supplying the beginning and end arguments. So let's modify it. So if there's a region beginning and region end, that's correct. But otherwise, if there's no region, here's what we want to do: save excursion. Okay, if you don't know what save excursion is, look up on my website. Okay, save excursion. Search backward. Okay, search backward two empty lines. Okay, bound nil, no error, true, count. Okay, search backward and search forward. Okay, and then set point. Okay, return point returns the current point. Then do the same thing. Okay, then we search forward to the end of paragraph, search for two new lines. Then we search backward, so the cursor is back at the end of the paragraph, then returns a point. So here is the beginning of paragraph position, and here's the end of paragraph position. So we want both of them to be inside the list. Okay, so that's that. And then we don't need this list here. So let's so that's our code. Okay, let's run it. Run the code back to our HTML, and let's try it. So we put the cursor on the first line, and it should work on both lines. Okay, let's call it. Okay, wrong number of arguments, lambda begin end. Okay, wrong number of arguments. If list, otherwise. Oh yeah, okay, I know what is going on. So yeah, okay, here is what we need. here's what we need. So save excursion. If there's no region, we do this, we run this block of code, and this code is going to return a list. The first element of a list is, you know, these lines of code. At the end, it returns a point, and second element of the list is this line of code. Okay, run the code, eval buffer back to HTML. Let's call the command. Fantastic, it works. Okay, so that's one modification successful. Now there are quite a lot more things to do, but now let's read the comments. Let's see what you guys think. Opinion on Doom Emacs. Well, I never tried it. Okay, I never tried Doom Emacs. If you have any specific questions, you can ask me. Synthesia King. So Synthesia King, you know, if you ask me what my opinion on Doom Emacs or Space Mac, my answer is just use xah keys. Okay, that's my recommendation, because I created xah keys. I use it, and if you use xah keys, just use plain GNU Emacs. You don't need Helm, you don't need Ivy, you don't need any, you know, my recommendation, don't install any of those packages. Just xah keys. That's what I'm using right now. It's the most simple, efficient way. Of course, that's my biased opinion. So once you have plain GNU Emacs and xah keys, then if you need, you know, just use it for a month. Then you might need, you know, maybe you need something, you can ask me on Discord. Remember to donate, okay? Don't just keep me asking questions. You can ask me on Discord, and then, you know, then you might install some other programs gradually. So love your site. Button menu says love your site. Have you seen the title new tactile variant? No, I haven't seen that keyboard. I would also be interested in any idea and opinion you have on how title tactile could be improved. Okay, yeah, I don't know what is title. We might talk about that later, but today we're gonna focus on Emacs Lisp. I'm going to continue this doing this code. So we have done one of the thing we wanted to do. Let's go to Talk Show. Let's see what's the next thing I want to do. Okay, go to Xah's Talk Show today. Then go to Notes. So this is the Notes to do. So modify xah-html-named-entity-to-char so it works on text block instead of lines. Also make it highlight. Okay. So yeah, so there's another thing we need to do. We want to make it highlight. Okay. We want to highlight the changes. A second. Okay, so yeah, here's our code. Now one more thing we want to do, we want to highlight the changes. What does that mean? Okay, hold on a second. Let's copy that. Okay, so we call the command, it makes the changes, but I want all the changed places highlighted. Okay, so now let's go back to the code and let's see if we can do it. We can fix it. Let's see. Yeah, it's easy to do. Okay, so let me show you. Actually, so yesterday in the past 5 videos, Xah Live Talk Show, we have. Let's go to my Emacs blog. In the past 5 videos, it's all about Emacs Lisp coding. So if you are a Emacs Lisp, you are learning Emacs Lisp, you can watch the past 5 videos also. They are all fairly condensed. So right now we want to highlight text. So we did this yesterday, actually yesterday and before. So we go to emacs lisp how to write the major mod. Then we want let's see, text properties. Yeah, let's go to text properties. Okay, so this is actually the code we want. Copy it. So back, close that. So we're gonna modify the code here. So the relevant code is actually just this one. Okay, let's prettify it. So put text properties begin end. So the beginning and end position will be, the end position will be point. Okay, the begin position will be point minus length of the last match. Okay, so put text properties and give two positions. The first position is the current cursor position minus the length of last replacement text. Okay, so we don't need this fixed case in literal actually. And the second position is just point. Then we add the property font lock face, then we say red. Okay, so that's how you add color. So eval buffer, go back to HTML. Let's do it. Let's call the command. Oops, arcs out of range. Okay, arcs out of range. What? Oh yeah, this part, this line needs to be inside the while loop. Okay, eval buffer. Let's try it again. Do it. Wait, there's no color. Do it. No color. Okay. Now, why no color? I think it's because this part. Let's say, let's just try that. Okay. Why? How do I know? Well, that's technical details. You just have to have experience. Let's do it. Still no color. Okay. So, okay, this is annoying. So we have to use overlay instead. Instead of using text properties, we use overlay. So let me show you how is that. So here's one line. That's our old line. Here is our new line. So we're gonna do this new way. The new way is going to be, this is a beginning position and end position is just point. Then font lock face. Okay, then foreground red. Okay, this line. Okay, that's what we want. So comment that prettify. Eval buffer, go back to here. Do it. Fantastic. You see it works. Now select the whole buffer. Wait, hold on a second. Cut the whole thing. Close it. Let's make a text block. Okay, let's do this. Show in browser. Well. So anyway, so here is the, okay, select the whole thing, call it make it HTML, make it xah-html mod. Okay, now magnify, select the whole thing, do it. fantastic. You see all the changed places are red. So that is done. So that ends another upgrade. So far successful, so good. So here's our code. But there's more. There's more change we can do. So let's see what comments and questions. Naibo, are you still here? So we've been talking for 25 minutes. That was pretty good today. So let me read the comments. Then we go to the next thing we want to do. So Sergio says, can you share keyboards for sale of the type keyboard that you recommend? Can you share keyboards for sale, links of the type I recommend? Yeah. How can I set up the keyboard of my MacBook Pro? I just set this. What do you want to do, Sergio? Okay, I want to talk about emacs lisp, not keyboard today. I mean, I talked about keyboard all the time. So anyway, so let's go to just search for Xah keyboard. So you will arrive at my keyboard blog. You go to the ergo keyboards. Then there is a link, best ergonomic keyboards, Xah pick. In fact, I just updated this page yesterday. So here are 5 keyboards that I recommend. You can pick any one of these. So you have Microsoft ergonomic keyboard. This is the cheapest, great for emacs. Intro keyboard, $70 or something. This is fantastic. Okay. Then you want to spend $150 for Kinesis Freestyle, very good, or Mistel Barocco. Okay, this is also fantastic. Or this one is a bit more expensive, $250, something like that. Okay, it's pretty good. But if you have money, then Expo is also fantastic. This, I have all these, except I don't have some of them, but I have this one. This one is just fantastic. Or this one. This is my current. I showed almost every video. I showed my keyboard, so I'm not going to do it again. So anyway, that's the keyboard I recommend off the bat. Okay, I'm going to go back to emacs lisp. So what is your question? How can I set up the keyboard of my MacBook Pro? I just set this with what do you want to do? What are you want to do? So let's go back to the entities. Okay, yeah, that's mistake. Okay, so anyways, entities. So now let me explain to you what is entities. There are more things to do. Okay, and HTML entities. So you go to Xah HTML website. You search that Xah HTML tutorial. You'll find my HTML tutorial, and there is a page explaining about allowed characters. How do you do them? What is UTF-8, encoding, things like that. Then character set and encoding. Why is it not? Character set encoding, and then you have the entity list. Okay. So apparently about 7 years ago or 5 years ago, the HTML5, or maybe 10 years ago, the HTML5 people, they added huge amount of entities. So before there are about like 100 or 200 entities, but since HTML5 5 years ago or so, they added a huge number, like 1,000 entities. You can see here. Now this is really idiotic. All these are Unicode. You see, you have arrow, down arrow, double up arrow, double up, down arrow, double vertical bar, and things like that. So instead of having a character itself, you can use this ASCII entities. That's no good, because entities are very complex. You make your technology, you make your HTML file unreadable. So anyway, so you see there's pages, there are thousands of them. The HTML5 added them. You can see it's endless. Before HTML5, you only have this many. Okay, let me show you. Where is it? Where's our code? Yeah, you see here is our code. Now before HTML5, that's all you have. You have like 100 or 2. Let's show it. Let's copy. Let's see how many. Okay, so here we have replace map, copy it, a new buffer, paste it, and let's make it. So you are looking at my workflow. Okay, so then what we do is we want to know how many are there. Replace all. So there are 248. So there are 248 of them. So anyway, close that. So what I was thinking of doing is to update this command xah-html-named-entity-to-char, so that they will contain the new thousands of entities. Because that should be, you should do that, because that's what this command is supposed to be. But I'm having doubts about that, because because you shouldn't use these entities, these people. I don't think this is a good design. So let's talk about design. So we are talking about, so this is HTML. We are talking about HTML design of the HTML markup language, the specification. So imagine if you are the designer of this HTML language, markup language, should you add thousands of these entities? In my opinion, no. Because as technology advances, first of all, why do we have entities in the first place? Why do we have this? Why do we have this? For example, if you want the copyright symbol, you can just type it. For example, let me show you how I type it. COPY, I press a key, then you got that. Or if you want pound, you see, that's how I type it. And the command I'm calling is this one, xah math input change to symbol. And in fact, I have a package I can show you. So let me show you the package. Okay, describe key space T calls xah math input change to symbol, and it is in this package, xah math input. Okay, so you open it, you can see here is the source code. Go to the top, you can see this package is on Melpa. Okay, and there's also a home page. So you go to the home page, show in browser. So this is a package I wrote that allows you to type thousands of Unicode symbols. Go use it. Okay, let's go back to my talk show. Close that. Undo. Let's go to back to my talk show. Keyboard log talk show. Okay, let's paste it here. Link talk show. Today's topic. and entities. Okay, let's not forget about entities. So we were talking about entities. So also paste it here, showing browser. So that's today's topic. And another thing we talked about is, let's go to Emacs blog. You can see this HTML replace entities. So here is the page. Copy the file path. Close it, go back to my talk show page, paste it here, linkify, show in browser. There are the things we talked about, and now we need to reorder them. Go back to Emacs. So first of all, remove those extra URL things. Let's reorder them. Okay, show in browser. So that's the things we talked about. Actually, the last one item should be at the bottom. That's the proper order. So as a design, you see, you are designing the new HTML language. Should you have the new entities? I don't think so, because as you know, so before, so you see, why do we have entities? Because, let me show you, okay, let me tell you why. Because back in the days, in the 1990s, Unicode, we don't have Unicode yet. Well, Unicode consortium, it began around 1990, around that time, 1990. But it was, nobody knows it. Very few people know it. Unicode didn't become popular until, let's say, until 2002 or something, after 2000, year 2000s. So back then, you only have ASCII. So there's a problem in HTML. So these are the problem. Okay, so let me show you. Okay, I want to type right arrow. Okay. So that's, you know, entity is just like the escape sequence, you know, the backslash escape in a string in languages like C, Java, Perl, Python. You want to, because you need some characters, you don't want special interpretation, things like that. That is why, so if you want to have a ampersand in HTML, I mean, if you want to have a less than sign or greater than sign in HTML, you have to escape it. You have to, you know, for example, you have to type less than sign using that entity instead. Why? Because otherwise the less than sign is used as a you know, it's used as a markup. So to avoid confusion, you have to have entities. You have some kind of escape mechanism. So these are the primary entities. These three are the important, the kind of necessary HTML entities. Okay. Then the people decided, you know, the HTML, the web, you know, the HTML people decided we need some other characters, such as acute E, for example, you know, for European languages, Sadella, AE, A with a ring on top, you know, acute A, things like that. Why do you need that? Because, you know, those characters are often used in Europe. It's frequently needed. And meanwhile, there's no way to do it because Unicode was not popular. It's not around yet. So you have to use some other European encodings, which is kind of not popular neither, because back then, remember, back then in the 1990s, internet was not that popular yet. Internet just began. So if you are American, you know, but occasionally, you know, you want to write a character with the European language characters, entities are very useful. So you can just you can just type this E acute to have a acute E. So that's why these entities are added. Also back then in the 1990s, internet back then was used mostly in academia, used by mostly scientists, mathematicians. They exchange information. So besides these European characters, you also have Greek characters, because Greek characters are often used in sciences. In math mostly. These are just for math. Okay, math is the mother of everything. So you see, then you have all these math symbols. Left arrow, for example, these fantastic characters, imaginary part, real part of complex number. Then you have the trademark sign. Then you have a left symbol. A left symbol stands for, that the origin of this symbol is from the Jewish language. What's the name of that language? Hebrew. But anyway, in math, this means a left symbol. It means I think it means countable infinity. In fact, we can look up. There it is. Magnify. Yeah, in mathematics, particularly in set theory, the left numbers are a sequence of numbers used to represent the cardinality or size of a infinite set that can be well ordered. Exactly. So a left naught, a left zero, a left naught is the smallest infinite cardinal number, which is known as countable infinity. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. Cardinal number. I'm pretty sure it's countable infinity. So anyway, that's advanced math. Okay, so back to entities. You see, so you have some entities for math symbols. So that's the origin of entities. So in summary, in the beginning, you just have 3 entities to escape the special characters. Then back then, because it's very extremely convenient to have some characters for European languages or math symbols, or then that's why you have these about 250 entities. Okay, so this is 1990s. Now, but after 20 years, after around 2010, by 2010, Unicode is very popular. It's almost every the entire web technology is based on UTF-8 Unicode. Unicode is well known, because internet began the communication between different countries. So now it's normal for people talking, European countries or Japanese or Chinese talking to each other. So, and we use Unicode because Unicode have, hundreds, thousands of characters. But so why do you need entities for, you can use Unicode directly. You don't need entities for all these thousands of characters. So I think, in my opinion, as a designer, if you are going to design HTML language, you shouldn't add them, because by now the technology for Unicode is very mature. Remember back then when you use ASCII, you have transmission problems, because if any character that's more than 8 bits, you may have transmission problems, because all those internet protocols are based on a byte. But now we no longer have that problem. So I don't think it's a good design for the HTML people to add all these entities. Okay. So anyway, anything else? So Naibo says Wops was eating dinner. So Naibo, if you have the question, ask it again. I'll answer it. Okay. Then maybe that's it for today. How long have we been talking? Because I want people to ask questions when we are live, so people can see it. So Sergio says, what I can do is insert characters like that, but I cannot find where is a key in a keyboard in Mac OS. Sorry if I cannot explain. I don't understand what you mean. So I don't understand what you mean. Insert characters, but I cannot find where is the keys in the keyboard in Mac OS. What do you mean? Where is the keys on my keyboard in Mac OS? Keyboard is a physical keyboard, so you can see usually there's labels on it. So and so how is what do you mean keyboard Mac OS? Yeah, I don't understand your question, Sergio. Okay, so Naiba asked the question, can you explain the general idea behind Xah get things? Okay, let's talk about that. Okay, so back to, first of all, let's finish this. Back to entities. So what we're gonna do. So anyway, so if we are going to add all these entities, basically we just create, more lists here, more elements here, then it will work. So it's not that interesting. So let's skip that. So if I decided I want actually to do it, I'll do it offline. So let's talk about thing at point, Naibo's question. So in Emacs, you have, let's open a new buffer, okay? So in Emacs, wait, before we do that, let me finish this. So we have completed editing this code, okay? So let's delete the file, then put it back in my HTML mod. So where is it? Let's find the code. Okay, so what? The easiest way is actually describe key, then press the key, then jump to it. What the heck? Okay, yeah. Back to HTML mod. So here it is. So paste it, okay? Then select the old code and we don't need it. Okay, so we have a new code. So here is our new code. Save it, go to the top of the file and update the version number, okay? Let's say 3, okay? Okay, back to the HTML and save it, go to eShell, git status, git add, git commit. Okay, git commit, we say better, improved xah-html-named-entity-to-char. Okay, commit it, then git push. So now you will see that on my GitHub xah-html mod. Okay, close that. So that's done. That's done for that. close that. Now we can talk about a new thing. So let's talk about thing at point. Let me create a new buffer. So create a new buffer, magnify. So define yeah, let's talk about thing at point. Okay, go to my emacs tutorial and we'll be done in 5 or 10 minutes, including answering Nibel's question. Go to my tutorial. So you go to emacs lisp, introduction to emacs lisp, then you go down a little bit, then you'll see a section that's get buffer string here. You see get buffer string, and this section tells you how do you get, grab the text under cursor. You have a cursor position somewhere in the buffer. So let's say you want the current word, or you want the URL under cursor, or you may want something else under cursor. That's how you do it. So for example, you can do buffer substring no properties, then give 2 positions. That will return a string of the text between those 2 positions. That's this function. That's how you get the string. Alternatively, if you want, if user has a text selection, then you can say region beginning and region end. Buffer substring no properties, then to return the string of that region. Then sometimes you want the current word, the word under cursor, then you just use the command current word. Okay, but sometimes you want the current line, and or sometimes you want a file name. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so let's write a command. Let's explain this interactively. What's going on here? What is this? Let's go to talk show. What is this? Emacs block, close. Okay, so back our code. So let's say define function. Let's say get something. Okay, let's say docstring return the URL under cursor. Okay, so what you do is you say buffer substring no properties. Okay, then start position and end position. So you can say thing at point. Okay, that's how you do it. See, thing at point. Then you just say URL. Okay. That. Okay, prettify the code. That's how you do it, and you don't need that anymore. Okay, you don't even need buffer substring no properties. You just need thing at point. So run it. Okay, that eval buffer. Okay, then that's a command name. Let's say I need a URL. Shit. Okay, so let's find the URL then. So we have a URL here. So I put a cursor somewhere here. This is one paragraph. So I put cursor somewhere in a URL. I call the command meta x get thing, get something. Our command. Do it. It returns. Okay, it returns, but you don't know because it doesn't do anything. So actually, so you just want to message. Okay, print it. Okay, evaluate it and try it again. Call the command get something. Now you can see in the message, it prints out the URL. So that's how you do it. And then in a similar way, you can also make this current word. Okay, so if you change it to word, okay, evaluate the code. and it'll work. Okay, so but for example, let's call it here. Okay, so you can see it shows water there. Okay, but anyway, thing at point, there are there's another. Let me get to the question. Okay, there is another use of thing at point. What you want is what you want is sometimes you want you want to grab the string. It returns a string, but some other times you want the beginning and end position of the thing. So in that case, so there are two major functions from the package thing at point. One of them is just thing at point. Let me write this thing at point. Okay, so this is one of the way to use it. So all these, you see all these arguments, those are all the possible arguments. So you can have a variety of things. Symbol just means the word, a programming language's keyword under cursor. So what's the difference between symbol and word? Well, the difference is mostly like like whether hyphen or low line counts or not. Okay, something like this. Okay, for example, if you have a word like that, depending on so what do you mean by a word? By a word, does it mean just that, or does it mean that, or does it mean the whole thing including underscore? So that's the major difference between word and symbol. And in Emacs, these two things is dependent on the major mod, depending on the character table. Anyway, often how they differ is just whether they include underscore or hyphen. That's usually the case. So anyway, besides symbol and word, you can also have a list. Okay, for example, let's do a list example. That would be interesting. Okay, let's do the sex example. Okay, so yeah, sex. So let's put it here instead. Okay, so that's our new function. Okay, evaluate it, and now put cursor somewhere here. Show the message buffer, so you'll see the result here. So we put the cursor somewhere under here. Okay, so let's say put it here. Then call the function meta_x get something. It returns message. Okay, you see it returns message. But what if we put the cursor under here? Let's see what it does. Get something. It just returns sex. Okay. What if we put the cursor under the beginning of a paren? Let's call it. There it is. That's, you see. Then it returns the sex symbolic expression. That's the Lisp syntax. You see. So anyway, that's so thing at point. So you have all these different arguments depending on what you want to get. Okay, now another use of thing at point is, let's say word. Okay, the name is called bounds of thing at point. Okay, so instead of just returning the string, it will return the beginning and end position of that thing. Okay, so the thing could be file name, word, white space, or line, things like that. It returns the two positions. So anyway, so thing at point, you see, with all these possibilities, there is, they don't have something I want, which is a paragraph. So for example, typically when you call a command such as replace entities command, typically you want to do the change on a whole paragraph, because a paragraph is a fundamental unit, in writing, also in code. For example, this is one paragraph. Usually, if I want to call some command that capitalize something, usually it's between empty lines, one paragraph. That's a unit, convenient unit. So I don't want to require user to select it first. So user can just call it and it'll work on the paragraph. So I often need I need something that that works on paragraph, but thing@point doesn't support that. Therefore, I have a package I wrote that's called xah-getThing, I think. Okay, let's see. Let's call the command. Let's see if we can find it. Describe function xah-getThing@point. Yeah, there it is. There it is, the function. Okay, so here is the documentation for my function. xah-getThing is a Lisp closure in xah-getthing.el. So that's a package. It's on Malpa. Okay, so this is how you use it. So you open. Let's go to the source code. So here's the source code. It's on Alpa, so you can use it. So let me just show you how to use it. Okay. So for example, I want a paragraph. So let's use it. Okay. So let's use it. So how do we use it? Let's see. Let me show you. Okay. Require xah-getThing. That's right. Then let's get something. Then let's get something. And what's the command? xah-getThing@point. Okay. xah-getBounds of thing at or region. Yeah. Okay. So here is what we want to do. Let's call the command. Let's describe function to see the doc. Same as okay. Okay, here's the documentation. Okay. xah-getBounds of thing. Let me show you how this works. So what do I want? Block. Okay. The unit is going to be a block. Okay, like that. Okay, so let's position 1, position 2, and bounds. Bounds is a boundary. Okay, so set bounds equals to that. So what this means, I want the boundary beginning and end position of a text block. Okay, you will get it. So, but however, if user has already made a selection, then return the boundary of that selection. So this will save lots of code. So once you get the boundary, then you let's say then you delete region. Okay, delete region P1 position 1, position 2, set P1 char. Okay, and set P2 char bounds. Okay, then we don't need this, we don't need that, we don't need that, we don't need that. Okay, so that's our code. So here's our code. Basically what it will do is delete the current paragraph. Okay, so let's evaluate it. Now let's put cursor somewhere here, somewhere inside this paragraph. Then just call it. It'll just remove the whole paragraph. But however, if I have made some selection, let's say I made this selection and I call it, it'll just delete that selection. Call it, you see? So that is what xah get thing is for. Does that make sense? Naibo. Okay, that's I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching. 1 hour and 5 minutes. If you like my stuff, go buy my tutorial. Okay, xah, just search for xah emacs tutorial. Thank you. Bye, guys. And now let me do some cleanup and copy it, delete the file. Fantastic. I love you. See ya, brother. Go to the talk show, paste the page code there, show in browser today's result, and back to emacs, syntax color, show in browser, maximize. Fantastic. So we talked about today no code keyboard. Fantastic. Then xah-html named entity to make it highlight. We did that. Fantastic. Then we have the source code on my website actually, so you can grab it. But however, I haven't updated the code here yet, so I'm going to do that. Then we talked about entities, and then we talked about the design of a markup language, whether should we have these Unicode character entities. Then we talked about xah math input mod. Then we talked about xah get thing. Okay, now if you search for xah get thing, there's actually a web page, home page for it. So here's my package is homepage xah get thing. Okay, copy it, shrink the browser, back to Emacs, and back to my talk show. Paste it here, linkify, show in browser. There it is. Thank you guys. Bye.